All right, we will call the Tuesday, March 26th FARGODOME Authority meeting to order. We have the agenda in front. Are there any additions to the agenda?
That's the word. Now, could have been anybody in the organization.
Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Got a first by Dave, second by Troy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. You have the minutes in front of you. Okay. Are there any changes to the minutes?
I'm gonna go through the minutes.
We got a first by Blake,
Second.
second by Troy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there any old business in front of the authority? Hearing none, we will go to new business, and Rob will be back here in a second.
All right. So as part of my new business,
All right.
most of you know Jane, Townley Kane, our financial accountant. She is leaving us and retiring. Excuse me. So she's been with us, what, 31 and a half years almost?
32 years.
So you don't see her much in this room, but you see a lot of her work with Zach and Susan Pryor on the financials and everything. So the timing worked out, so I thought it was the right thing to do to recognize her and thank her for all her efforts here, and you'll be missed.
Well, thank you, Rob. I appreciate it very much.
And for the record, we brought the media here too to you can make a few words, comments. We got WDAY and we got the form. Are you sure no comments?
I'm sure.
Sure.
I'm sure. Thank you
Thank
for all
you.
the good years. I've been here since the month before we opened the building, so it was a good career for me. Don't make me cry.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
All right.
And so we did actually hire Brenda Jakey. Got to play my name game. It's Brenda Jakey. She was originally from Barnesville, moved down to the Quad Cities, Illinois area, and has come back. So she started earlier this week. Jane is training her in, and we'll spend some time with her next week and moving forward. So, anyways, with that, thank you for indulging me. On to the financials. So on page 5, I think it is.
One of them.
4 or 5, one of the report is the February financials. As a reminder, since we did not have the Building and Finance Committee meeting last week, this is the first time for seeing it here. As usual, the month is on the left-hand side of the page. The year-to-date for the 2 months is on the right-hand side of the page. So for the month of February, we had 10 events with total attendance of just about 48,000 compared to a budget of 48. So we were off by 7 people. I blame Zach. It was only his second time through setting the budget. So we had total event income of just about $498,000 compared to a budget of $442,000. We had indirect expenses of $411,500 compared to a budget of $447,000, or slightly below budget. So we had a surplus for the month of February of just about $255,000 compared to a budget of $155,000. So favorable to almost $100,000 on the surplus. As far as events goes, the River Valley Home and Garden Show was right at or above budget slightly with attendance and strong ancillary revenues. Did some different things there. Worked with our food and beverage. Worked with the show organizers and moved some stuff around and was successful. So that's great. On the amateur sports side, the state wrestling was slightly below budget, mostly on the net service for post-clean labor. As we've talked about over the last 18 months, we've had significant increases in labor costs, and third-party labor costs continue to increase. That was there, but thankfully we were only $6,000 below budget, so that's good. Made up with strong food and beverage sales. The Kiwanis Pancake Feed and the NDSU Career Fair on the miscellaneous events were just basically consistent with budget on that, and then the Monster Jam was above budget with higher rent ticket sales, attendance, things such as that. So about $58,000 above budget on that. Other income, the interest, thankfully those rates still stay high, so thank you to everybody there, about $12,000 above budget. And on the expense side, labor was about $10,000 below budget, one less full-time staff member. Operations worked hard to manage their expenses, plus a little bit warmer month, so steam heating and electricity and cooling were down a little bit, so we were also under budget there. Any questions on the month of February? Okay, since we're not that far in, not a whole lot of time spent on the year to date for the first 2 months. As you can see, we're at a net surplus of about $62,300 compared to a budgeted deficit of about $18,000. Labor is tracking low with some full-time absences and timing as far as scheduling, and operations are slightly below budget too. Climate, we'll blame the climate on the good side. We'll also take it on this side as well with the less heating, cooling, and less snow removal. Still a lot of time in the parking lots for ice and things such as that. But any questions on the February financials?
Mr. Chair, at this time, I would make a motion at the FDA level to accept the financials for February, the month of February and the month ending February 2024 as presented.
We got a first,
Second.
a second by Blake.
Roll call, Blake,
Yes.
Troy,
Yes.
Dan,
Yep.
Rick,
Yep.
Mike,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
All right.
All right, moving on then into the calendar. Past and upcoming events with past events, page 16, 17 in your packet since our last meeting, which I believe was February 27th. During that time of the meeting, we had the Red River Valley Sportsman Show moving in. Starting that Tuesday, they moved in the Wednesday, Thursday in February. They started their show the evening of Thursday, February 29th, and had their shows also Friday, Saturday, Sunday, March 1st through the 3rd. They moved out till about midnight, 2 a.m. Monday morning, and Feld Entertainment started moving in at 6 a.m. for the ice floor for Disney on Ice, and they moved in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the 4th, 5th, and 6th with production, and kicked off their performances on Thursday the 7th with Disney on Ice, had one Thursday night, one Friday night the 8th, 3 on Saturday the 9th, and 2 on Sunday the 10th. Great attendance, great feedback. It was a very good show. And so it was good to have Disney on Ice back in the building. First time since about 2019. And we're working on a regular rotation, not every year, but a regular rotation for them to be back in the building. It's always well received. They moved out the ice then on Monday, during the day of Monday the 11th, and Monday night. Our operations crew flipped the building over, set the basketball floor, started getting ready for the State High School Division A basketball Monday, Tuesday, the 11th and 12th. That event moved in on Wednesday the 13th, and we had hosted the Division A boys state basketball Thursday, Friday, Saturday, March 14th to March 16th. Good crowds, great crowds. Always depends upon which teams get in, but feedback I've received so far has been very good, and as I said before, it does look like FARGODOME, based on the attendance at this and some other things, we will be back into the basketball business on an annual basis, having one every year. So as we talked about, I believe at last month's meeting, either the authority or building finance, we will be bringing forth a new budget item to be funded out of the FARGODOME Permanent Fund for new basketball floor. Our existing one is about 22 years old, and new basketball stanchion, so it's time to be replaced with all of that. So that'll be hopefully coming forth, or will be coming forth likely at the April meetings for that to be funded out of the permanent fund. Basketball finished the evening of the 16th. Had a day off as ops changed over again, and then the dirt started coming in for the PRCA rodeo this past weekend. They moved in last Tuesday through Thursday, the 19th to the 21st. then had their Friday night performance and Saturday night performance this past 22nd, 23rd. Moved the dirt out and cleaned up the building on the 24th, which brings us to today. Any comments or questions from board members on past events?
How were the rodeo sales? Good? Or down or up or what?
Comparative.
Comparative?
I think last year was a record. They might have been just a touchdown from last year, but not real noticeable. And so that was this past weekend. This coming weekend with Easter, typically it is a slower weekend, so this is our first weekend, dark weekend, if you will, at the FARGODOME since January 1st. So after today's meeting and maybe noon tomorrow, there'll be a lot less and less faces around for the rest of the week. We start right back up again next week with the Shrine Circus moving in on Thursday, April 4th, and their performances will be on the 5th, 6th, and the 7th. Another quick conversion, we host Mercy Me on Thursday, August 11th, and then we also have the NDSU Coaches Clinic that Friday, Saturday, they'll be using all of our meeting rooms, second floor, field level, as well as the lobby. On Saturday the 20th, the turf will come out real quick, and we will host the NDSU, their final spring practice extravaganza game, all the fun sorts of things they have planned for that. We have a private event with Sanford Health in here on the 22nd, 23rd of April, and that brings us to our next meeting on April 30th. Any questions, upcoming events for any of that? Hearing none, then that would conclude my report.
All right, thank you. Item 3B, there were no committees last week that met, so there's no reports with that. So we'll go to item number 4 and discussion of the FARGODOME remodel.
Yes, and if the authority recalls, on the 27th of February 2024, a month ago, we approved up to $25,000 to do a scientific study survey with respect to the citizens of Fargo and the FARGODOME. That was entered into and has moved forward with Prime 46 is the firm that's representing the survey. Working with the mayor's office and getting the survey done, we've learned that originally they thought they would have it done within 30 days. We have since learned that they are probably another 3 to 4 weeks out from having that survey completed. So at this time, there's no action of the FARGODOME Authority on anything until we get that scientific survey to find out what the information comes out of that. And once we have the information out of that, we'll have an idea if the FARGODOME is proceeding forward with the idea of another vote for the renovation to the FARGODOME, how or may or if the convention center fits into that equation also. So at this time, we're still in the waiting mode to get the information from that survey, and it sounds like we're another 3 to 4 weeks out from receiving that. So no action required of the FARGODOME Authority right now, just giving an update that we're in a wait and see till that becomes available. Happy to answer any questions too.
Well, I think it's important to point out a scientific valid survey is a little more in-depth than just a poll that somebody puts out on a Instagram page or a Facebook page, things such as that. Also, a little bit more in depth than just any conversations, any of the board members, any staff members, feedback from outside. So it's the way that has been decided for the board and the city to go about finding just what is it that the citizens would like, the voting citizens would like of the city of Fargo to see for the future of the FARGODOME with the asset management on that. There's also a component of that survey asking questions about the potential of a conference center, not necessarily located at FARGODOME, but just kind of going through all that. And I believe it's very important for this group to have that information before you really do formulate a final plan of what's next. Obviously, we all saw the results of the December special election, and wanting to build upon, yes, it didn't hit the 60% approval, but building upon the 51.8% approval, so the popular vote. Moving forward on just what that looks like, and without having that information, I think it would be a little premature to bring anything forward. Once that survey is completed and Prime 46 has had the time to compile and interpret all the results, those results will be presented likely at a combined meeting again of the authority and the city commission, but that's likely not going to be until late spring, early summer, to make sure all of that's there and the discussions can happen, and then decide moving forward from that what the next steps could or should be.
Who wrote up the questions on the survey? Was it you with Prime?
There was a lot of input from Prime 46, obviously, as they know what they're doing. I don't, but there was a select few people who did see drafts of the questions, but I don't believe I saw the final questions as they went out. But they do center on, and they are focusing on, they have, there are certain call lists or their strategies that they have, and they are focusing on people who only identify as definitely going to vote or very likely to vote in any of the upcoming elections. So asking questions about both FARGODOME, your current views of the FARGODOME,
Views of this convention.
views
center.
of what it would be if certain enhancements surrounding different things going through that. So there's a variety of questions they're asking. There's also obviously different trees they go down depending upon the answers. So I don't have all of that, and I don't think it would be appropriate. We don't want to taint any of the survey as well. Right. So as we discussed at the authority meeting last February, to make it a valid scientifically valid survey, they need at least 400 completed responses. To get that, it's 4,000 plus calls. So they're working through that.
And the questionnaire runs about 8 minutes.
Yeah, it is running about 8 minutes. The feedback we're hearing is there's a lot of polling being done right now this time of year, you could imagine. So if somebody said, well, what would you say? My answer would be, if you hear it's about the FARGODOME and you're a Fargo voter, please go through to the end and give your opinion, because it's important. It's important to me as a management staff. It should be important to the authority members, and it's important to the city of Fargo for just that overall asset management of building.
So, Mr. Chair, that would conclude the discussion on the FARGODOME remodel. At this point, we're stay tuned.
Okay. Alrighty, any additional items? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.